Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Naval Yamal. So in this video we're going to see the index topic in MySQL. So let me write index in MySQL. Before we see the definition of index, what do you mean by index? So how to create an index? Let me give you a simple analogy, like you'll get a clear understanding of why the index is useful and how it is useful. So a simple analogy. So I'll give you the example of a phone book. Okay, suppose nowadays we are not using phone book now because we have all mobile phones and we have all the contacts in our mobile phones. So just imagine that you have a phone book with you and it contains millions of phone numbers. It may have more than 1000 2000 pages, and if you are searching for one of the person's number, suppose if you are searching for Sachin's phone number. Okay, Sachin's phone number in that phone book. So by default, or you can say that in the phone book, all the letters will be alphabetically arranged. So it becomes so easy to find out the Sachin's phone number. Like you go to the page which is having the letters starting with S and then A and then C. Obviously, you may get Sachin's phone number maybe in 2 3 minutes, not more than that, in that whole millions of records. But just imagine if you are having a phone book which do not store the names with an ascending order, they are having a random names. So we don't know, and the phone book is not sorted according to the first name or last name, so it has random records in that. So just imagine if you want to search the Sachin's phone number now, it becomes so difficult to get a number because that is not having a proper index, or it is not sorted in the index. But if the phone book is sorted, which has having a sorting with the first name or the last name or with any other sorting order, you can find it in very easy way. So similar to that, when you are working on the SQL, you take any SQL, MySQL, SSMS, PostgreSQL, anywhere. If you want to run your query very fast, if you want to run a query quickly, you have to set up a index for a column. So setting up an index gives your query a quick response. It will not have any latency, it will not have any delay. So that is the advantage of creating an index in your MySQL. So how to create an index, we will look into it. But if you are creating a table, if you say create table, employee table, and give a value, wherever you are giving a primary key, suppose if I say id int and if I say primary key, knowingly or unknowingly, behind the scene, this employee id or id column from the employee table will have the index by default. When you are setting up a key called the primary key, automatically your table and your column will set up a index. So this index is called as a primary index. So when you are creating a primary key or a unique key, SQL automatically creates a primary index. So this index is called as a clustered index. That is called as a clustered index. So it will create a index automatically. We don't, we knowingly or unknowingly, it will create for us by default. So when you are passing on the key name, primary key or a unique key, automatically a cluster index is created behind the scene. Now let us imagine that if there is no index and if you want to find the Sachin's phone number in SQL database, you have a database, you have millions of records, and you want to have to find out the Sachin's phone number. In SQL, when you are working on a database, it becomes simple. So I can write a query to find out the Sachin's phone number if it is having a proper index or if it is not having the proper index, also you can find out. So let me show you the example. Select, I use a phone number from the phone books where your first name is equal to Sachin. I can say this. So if I run this, I will get all the phone numbers from the phone book whose name is Sachin. It works. So it may take only few seconds for you. Then now again you think on, then why do we need an index for this? Yeah. So if you have millions of numbers, billions of number, to get the Sachin's phone number, you may require lot of time. So to reduce that time, so to retrieve the data, we need a lot of time. To reduce that time, to optimize the query, we need a indexing. So that is the need of index. Now let us see how to create an index first. Create a index when you are creating a new table, or if you have already created a table, suppose you have already have a table, and if you want to create a index on top of this table, how to do that, we're going to see that. Okay, so if I say create table, okay, let me create a new database first. I don't want to use create database test. Okay, let me run this. So I got a new test database, and I'm going to create a new table called table T. And now I'm going to start with the first column 1, which is an integer, and I'll assign a primary key for this. Primary key, put a comma. Let me put this in a new line. Just give me a second. Yeah, C2. This might be an integer, and I'll say that it is not null. Put a comma, and let me write C3 and a varchar, maybe 10. Put a comma. So if I run this, by default you will be getting an index which will be from the column 1 because it is a primary key. Suppose if you want to create an index based on the column 2, okay, just an example, if you want to create an index on based on column 2, yeah, you can do that by using a keyword here, index. So just you need to inform index, and I want to apply it for column 2. And if you want to apply for maybe one or two columns, suppose I want to apply the index for column 2 and column 3, I need to put a comma here. Yeah, so you can do it by passing on the multiple columns here, C2 comma C3. So if I run this, this will create an index by default for the C1 because we have a primary key here, and we have created an index for column C2 and C3. So what I'll do, I'll just copy this. I'll create a new table without passing on the index here. Let me create this table T. Yeah, now the table has executed. Now let me use select star from T, that is table. Let me execute this. Yeah, you can see there is C1, C2, C3. Now if I want to see like, hey, whether we have an index on this, so let me do that. So to see the indexing on the table, so we need to write a query like show indexes from the table T. Okay, so let me run this and execute this. So now you can see, hey, we have not done anything, but by default the table has a index set for column 1. You can see column 1, and the type of index is B tree. So what are the types of index we are going to see in detail? later on, but now just see how you can see the index. So if you write show indexes from T1, so your index is applied to column 1. So what is index? Index is like sorting it maybe for the alphabetical number, alphabetical order, or maybe from the ascending order on that particular column. Okay. Now if I'm creating a new table called T1 table, and I am creating an index here for column C2 manually. I'm doing it by myself. Okay. So here by default C1 will have a column, by C1 will have an index, and I am creating a second index on column 2. Okay, column 2. So I'll creating a new table T1 and let me execute this. Okay, it has executed. Let me just refresh so that I can show you two tables here from the, yeah, we do not have the values here still. Okay, let me show the indexes for your T1 table. Okay, okay, let me write it here only just to save some time. Yeah, let me run this. Now you can see we got the index for two columns. One is for, because of primary key by default it is created a column C1, and then we got a index for column 2 because we have created a index by default here. So this is how to create an index for a empty table or for a new table. I hope you enjoyed this video guys. If you like it, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Keep learning.